Hey everybody, it's Darren, Throwback Thursday. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about a masterpiece of the superhero genre, All-Star Superman. In 2006, superstar editor Bob Schreck was charged with bringing something really stupendous to the DC line. So there were two series that he had. He had All-Star Batman, which some of you may remember, with Frank Miller writing and Jim Lee drawing. And then there was All-Star Superman with Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley. And arguably, whenever those guys get together, I think they do momentous work. I'm thinking of We Three, their work in The Invisibles together. It just seems like whenever they get together, it's a perfect alchemy of writer and artist. Now, I like the Man of Steel movie, and I stand by that. And I know that a lot of you out there are going to be hurt and saddened to hear me say that. But I did really love the movie, but I also want to prove that I love a really good Superman story. And that Superman story is All-Star Superman. It has a really good premise. That's the one thing. It's a 12-part series, and its basic premise is Superman goes to the heart of the sun to save a bunch of astronauts. But it turns out the whole thing was engineered by Lex Luthor so that Superman would get a lethal radiation dose. And what Superman finds out is that he's got a year to live because his powers are growing so exponentially that eventually he'll just literally explode, turn into something else. And so it's Superman basically cleaning house and determining what he's going to do in the last year of his life. A sort of 12 labors of Hercules type of thing. There's a lot of highlights in this book. And spoilers, if you haven't read it, I am going to talk about some of the highlights. There's one really great issue that takes place in the past and concerns the death of Pa Kent. And a bunch of different iterations of Superman from time and space come back to this particular time to meet and greet Superman. And it's just got the most heartbreaking ending you'll ever see in a comic. The other amazing thing that I really loved about All-Star Superman is the way that Frank Whiteley and Grant Morrison chose to deal with Lex Luthor, how they chose to deal with his so-called villainy. When they finally get to their big battle in issue 12, Superman gives Lex Luthor all the power, near omnipotence, to see the universe as it occurs, as it unroils around you. And basically, when Lex Luthor sees everything, when he sees the universe as it is in all its perfection, he can no longer be a supervillain. He has to take part in caretaking the universe. So he ends up being defeated by his omnipotence. And I think in a lot of ways, Grant Morrison wrote a Superman story for the ages. I don't think his returning to Superman a few years later was really any better than All-Star Superman. I think All-Star Superman is pretty much a near perfect piece of art.